bringing it to you always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange and black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Next Generation Baltimore Sports Talk. I am your Daily Center host. As always, I'm joined by the button lover, Josh Soroka. Josh, pretty boring weekend for you, huh?
My weekend was much better than the Orioles. I mentioned last week that I'd be getting married on Saturday, so we did that. Perfect weather, great location, everything, all good. And
now you have to tell her that. And now you have to tell her that you spend every Monday night doing a podcast. So
it's not like I could hide this. This takes way too much time out of my my week. But it is it does mean that Birdland Tonight will probably be coming back as soon as tomorrow, because it's a little easier to sneak downstairs for 20 minutes and do a little talking.
Yeah, is Kelly? Is she also? Is your new wife also a listener of the podcast?
She's been listening to the podcast. Yeah, she listens to like every episode since I don't know, months.
Oh my gosh, I still don't think Emily's ever heard a podcast. I've heard a single episode of this podcast. So good on you.
Yeah. I was surprised that, and yeah, she can pass some trivia. She knows.
Okay.
She's paying
well,
attention.
that prevents you from saying like I can talk about my personal life a lot more openly probably than you can because of that. So props.
It's never stopped me in the past. It won't stop me again.
But yeah, a rough weekend for the Orioles. We talked last week. I saw Josh. You called the episode June optimism or something.
June perspective.
June confidence.
Yeah, June confidence.
Yeah.
Because we were feeling really good going into June. I mean, come on. We had the Mariners, the Guardians. I mean, the Guardians don't even sound like a real team name.
Yeah, and for all that optimism, this week it's called June pessimism. I'm sick of this team. I'm sick of Mike Elias. I'm sick of this organization because
all right, Buster.
The key, Josh, for my confidence, I talked about it here before, was playing well
and the future.
Plus the future.
Yeah,
and part of my calculation for June going well had to do with a certain starting pitcher who would immediately become literally our best pitcher on the team the moment he got here. And the start before he was supposed to get here, he got hurt and he's not going to be here anymore. Not for June, not for July, not for August.
Right. They're saying September he'll be able to pitch again, which means he's probably not going to be in the majors in September.
No, yeah, it's more than likely he's done this year.
Right. Now, they rostered next year still.
Yeah.
But it sucks.
It sucks
on 2022 Orioles.
Yeah, it sucks on so many levels. It sucks for him. It sucks. It also, I was thinking about this. People love to hate on, I memean, Buster only included. We can get to his quotes.
Yeah.
But they love to hate on Mike Elias and the service time manipulation. And like they did with Adley Rutschman. I would argue that Adley would have started if he didn't get hurt. Right. Now they're going to say the same with Grayson. Well, they're just doing service manipulation, but it's not true. Like they were going to bring him up.
And well, they don't hate on Mike Elias. They go straight to ownership as if Peter Angelos is pulling the strings still.
Right, cheap ownership. Yeah,
like I see so much stuff on my Twitter feed. Well, the Grayson's hurt. Well, the real problem is the Orioles will never win until they get a new owner. It's like no, the story is Grayson's hurt. It doesn't matter who the owner was.
Yeah,
Grayson got hurt.
But there is also some aspect, Josh, and this is why I sometimes try to rear people back when I see their 2025 lineup. Like things don't always work out the way you plan.
Right.
If you're as old as we are, Josh, we've seen enough prospects either get hurt or not work out. Like
how about an entire cavalry?
Is not a guarantee of success.
Right.
Like stuff happens all the time, and thankfully with Grayson, it just seems to be a lat, which someone has to tell me where your lat is.
It's in your back, right?
Yeah, I felt like when I'm doing the Peloton workout, this guy's always like, squeeze your delts. I'm like, I have no idea where my delt is, so how can I squeeze it? That's how I feel about the lat. But anyway, I guess in your back. So it's not an arm or shoulder thing.
Right.
but it is a grade 2 kind of muscle strain. So
Yeah.
it's a slow recovery process.
It's a your life is fine, but no baseball activities.
Right. And if you do it too soon, you could kind of re-aggravate it.
Right.
So it becomes a really kind of tricky thing, which Mike Elias is going to err on the side of caution, which
Right.
Once again becomes just like they did with Adley, becomes a little bit frustrating to wait as a fan.
Yeah. But it does bring out. And it's part of what was making 2022 fun is we know that next year is the key. Next year is when we're really supposed to like be over 500 and everything. We're supposed to win games, make a push, get into the playoffs. That's all next year. But this year was fun, and it seemed like this week could be the first blow against the funness of this year.
Yeah. I mean, our top prospect, Adley Rutschman, he stinks. Our top
No, we're not going down that road. We're not going that road.
Our top
Leave
pitching
that out.
prospect gets hurt out for the rest of the season, probably. Not and in the easy part of the schedule, 2 teams with losing records, we lose both those series in what were very winnable series. So it all just stinks.
Yeah, it stinks. It's no fun. It's reasons that we had to go to watch the team this month. I mean, they're still.
I was planning my schedule for a Tuesday.
You
Tickets.
You gonna go see the Cubs tomorrow?
No,
You can see the Cubs. You don't get to see the Cubs in Camden that much.
Only if Grayson's pitching.
Yeah, it ain't happening. Not unless we sign some new guy named Grayson that I haven't heard of yet.
Hey, what do you think about Buster's? Buster was. Did you listen to his comments about the Orioles?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
His whole thing was 2 points. He thought that Grayson Rodriguez should have already been up with the majors.
Yes.
That one could argue. The reason Grayson wasn't was what had more to do with pitch count, and you could argue, you can put up your pitch count in the majors, but this is how Mike Elias is doing it.
Right.
The second point. Oh, go ahead.
But Buster's one of those local media guys that moved out of Baltimore and still holds grudges against the Angelos family.
Yeah.
And it was clear in his comments, we're not commenting about Mike Elias and his technique, but saying that the Angelos family doesn't want to pay, and once that extended, is doing the contract manipulation. So they were holding him back because of that, even though there's been lots of conversations about why they were holding him back.
Yeah, though he did have an interesting idea that actually appeals to me a little bit, where he says, if it's true, we don't know this for a fact, I assume it's true, that Grayson was going to make his next start with the major league team. Buster suggested do right by the player, put him on the 40-man roster. Then you can put him on the 60 IL, so he's not taking up a roster spot. But then he gets both, more money, but also more importantly, gets to start his service time since you're going to do it anyway. Josh, do you think there's argument to be made, like do right by the player, start his service time anyway?
I mean, I get, okay, yeah, do right by the player. But how often does do right for the player work out for ownership? When you have guys that you do right for the player, and then they get to the point where they want that, they're not doing right for your city at 5 years in, they're not giving you a hometown discount. They're going to go to San Diego and make the most money. Doesn't matter how much you do right for them. Doesn't matter how many surgeries you pay for their knees or whatever. When they can get the money, they're going to leave you. You're not getting a hometown discount. So why, as a business owner, would I do right to the employee when the employee doesn't go the other way around? When the whole mindset of the player is more money, more money, more money, how does this help me to do right by the player?
Yeah, I mean, if it's just a bottom kind of dollars and cents thing, you might be right. I mean, you saw what the Orioles did to Jahmai Jones. Jahmai Jones had to have surgery, and I don't know, something about they couldn't have him taking up a roster spot even on the IL, so they cut Jahmai Jones after he needs Tommy John surgery. Sucks to be Jahmai Jones right now, but I think there is something about, I don't know, Josh, and you're right. It doesn't mean that when Grayson Rodriguez becomes a free agent, he will sign with the Orioles because they were nice to him when he was 21. But I think it sets up a culture where you treat your players as humans and not as little commodities. And I think something that people criticize in kind of the analytics and stuff is that they don't treat the players always like humans. They treat them more like little robots. And so here's an example to do something kind of really human and kind to somebody. And I'm not saying I would do it either, because there's a whole complication with the roster.
And
to get into and doing it. But it's an interesting idea.
and people don't like to think of baseball as a business, and you got to think of it as a business. Like if I have a employee who gets hurt and can't perform his job, like I'll want to help him out and give him sick leave. But there's a point where, why am I giving you more money? So, and why would I give you a raise if you can't do the job I'm paying you to do?
Right.
And it's like, that's why, like, I get that's why the players union has a lot of protections. And I know the minor league players aren't in that union. So maybe there's something going on with there where they need to get the minor league players into the union more for healthcare and stuff aspects.
Yeah. All right.
And disability money and stuff. But there's something to be said for ownership, as we have a contract. And just like years from now, we're going to go to arbitration and you're going to tell me why, because you played this well, you deserve more money. Right now, you can't do anything to help me. So why do you deserve more money?
Yeah. First of all, Josh, I'm glad to hear you're pro union now. That's good to hear.
No, I'm not pro union.
Buster Olney's point was, like, if Grayson should have been up here a month ago, let's say, because he was the best pitcher on our team. If he should have been up here a month ago and he got hurt in the minors when he should have been in the major league.
Who declares he should have been up here a month ago? Mike Elias will tell you he should not have been up here a month ago because he wasn't getting 90s pitches. Before the last outing, he got 86. The outing before that, he was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So he hasn't gotten close to that 100 mark.
Yeah.
So who says he should have been up here a month ago? Buster? The fans?
The fact that he's the best player in the organization, the best pitcher in the organization. Shouldn't that say it? Like right
what
now,
happens when you
he's
come
the
to
best pitcher.
Adley was supposed to be the best hitter in the organization. We brought him up. He's struggling. Just because you're ranked someplace doesn't mean I haven't lost any confidence in Adley. I have a lot of trust in Adley. I really like his plate discipline. I really like what I'm seeing from Adley.
But you don't think Grayson's good enough to pitch in the majors?
No, I do. I believe he is. But he's got to prove it.
Right.
Prove it. It's like Lamar Jackson wanting money. Forget Lamar Jackson, because everyone's arguing about Lamar Jackson's contract, and that's a whole different issue.
What are your thoughts on his not
think
going
of Joe
to
Flacco.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco got paid way more than he deserves, but he got it because he proved that he earned that money. He earned every penny of that money by winning the Super Bowl. Right. After that, he
bet on himself.
He bet on himself. So no matter what you say about, it's easy to say he was overpaid. Technically, he wasn't overpaid because you paid him for that Super Bowl,
right? Not
for the years after. Grayson is a great prospect. There's lots of excitement about Grayson. Grayson looks great in the minors, but to get that money, you have to earn your promotion to the major leagues. He didn't get up to 100 pitches. He got to 86. One more outing probably would have done it. But that doesn't mean, again, you got to look at it on the business side. It doesn't make sense. If I'm trying to think of it outside of baseball, if you're working really hard, if your boss says, hey, if you get 10 sales this month, we're going to promote you up to sales manager, and you get 9 sales, does that mean you get promoted up to sales manager? No, you didn't make it.
Yeah, but I would argue, like, it's like in the teaching profession, I'll use my example, where a first-year teacher goes right out there and is killing it, is the best teacher in the school, engaging, the kids are all doing well, test scores are going up. Yet just because the teacher's been there for 20 years, they're making twice, maybe 3 times as much as this new teacher's making, just because they've been around longer, and schools love to, be cheap.
And that's why I'm anti-union.
Yeah. But Josh, sometimes though, do you agree with this? That like this week, just thinking about the Grayson Rodriguez, it just made me so angry. And I was thinking about just props to Michael Elias for being patient. But like, I'm just like, screw this. Like, why am I not watching the best players play for the Orioles? Why do I have to go to Bowie to watch Gunnar Henderson play? I'm done with this.
No, that's the thought. That's exactly my thought is screw this. Bring up Gunnar Henderson now.
And bring up DL Hall. I don't care if they struggle.
Yeah.
Bring them up.
And I think of guys like Ben McDonald and Dylan Bundy that we brought up way early. We brought them up at 19, 20, Manny Machado. Bring these guys up. I don't want to see these randos. I want to see
a lot of players
who are supposed to be the best.
Make young appearances at young. Bob Witt Jr. is playing really, really well right now. He came up, I think, at 20 or 21. Like a lot of players make appearances when they're 19, 20, 21, and they turn out to be really good players. You're not going to ruin Gunnar Henderson by bringing him to the majors now. You're not going to ruin DL Hall, even if he's still figuring things out. Like, you have coaches in the majors. They'll continue to progress and get better even in the majors. And I'm just tired of waiting now. I'm sick of it.
And this is where I think the union is a little stuck.
You're doing a lot of union talk here.
Well, because when we're talking about bringing players up and contracts and money, the union that becomes a union. Because I think the Major League Players Association union does not want players to come up early. They want players to get paid early. They do not want them to come up early.
Because they don't want to push
every
out the
DL
mid-level
haul that
players,
you pull up
yeah.
means one of the veteran guys that's getting cut.
Yeah. But Josh, you think, why is Gunnar Henderson not and by the way, we should mention Gunnar Henderson was just promoted today from Bowie to Norfolk. Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westberg, so that's good news.
That's great.
Is Gunnar Henderson not in the majors right now because of service time, because of they don't want to pay him, because he don't want to start, or is it because he's still developing as a player? If you gave Mike Elias truth serum, why would he say that Gunnar Henderson, even though he's a better player right now, I think, than Chris Owens or even a Roman Urias?
Yeah.
I think even Jorge Mateo. Why is Gunnar Henderson not here? What would Mike Elias say if you gave him some truth serum?
Because he is better than those guys right now. But our goal is for him to be even better. The goal is to get him
better with the majors
to get him used to this point of building up so that when he hits the majors, he's better, 3 times better instead of just a little better. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I was definitely, when they started constraining minor league teams and getting down to less minor league teams, my hope was that it would mean that we would see players sooner. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that. It means we have more players who are getting cut out of the minors and not able to play pro ball and having to go to independent leagues and stuff. It didn't push people into the majors. It just saved teams money.
It just lost a bunch of minor league jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It did the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, and Mike Elias is not like me where he's not going to change his mind from day to day like I kind of do with these prospects. Though it was, again, good news that we see Gunnar Henderson and Jordan Westberg come one step closer to the majors. Gunnar Henderson's 20, and it's pretty cool that he could he's on track to make, if not make the appearance in September, to next year. I think all these guys, right? Yeah. Gunnar, Jordan, Grayson are all competing, for opening day jobs.
Yeah, and that was one of my predictions at the beginning of the season, was that Gunnar Henderson would see in the majors this year. I really think we'll see him up here in September because, like you were saying, he's the best. That he's better than the guys we currently have.
Yeah, I guess my concern too is I was hoping this year to have kind of Grayson there, DL Hall there, and like us play really well and make an argument for Mike Elias that, hey, we're just 2 pieces away. We're just a Carlos Correa and a third string starter, a third man starter away from being like a playoff contention team. Yet if we don't see Grayson, if they're slow with DL Hall promotion, if we don't see Gunnar, then all of a sudden we're losing and we lose, 100 more games or 90 some games. Right. Is Mike Elias going to say, no, we're still 2 years away?
I don't know, because I also feel like these are big prospects we're talking about. Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westbrook, DL Hall.
All top 100. Yeah, we're not
top 100.
But the other guys all top 100 bracket.
But it makes me wonder also why, like, forget bringing Gunnar Henderson up. Why is Richie Martin not up? Richie Martin's playing great in Norfolk.
I've been saying that for weeks. I have no idea. I know he's almost hitting 300 now.
Why is Cal Stowers not up? He's got like 12 home runs. He's playing really well.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Stowers is still a prospect. Richie Martin's beyond prospect.
Yeah, but you could bring Kyle Stowers up, move Austin Hayes to center, and give Cedric Mullins a couple days off.
Yeah,
or a day off. Cedric Mullins is struggling.
Don't you kind of like McKenna though? I kind of like McKenna.
I do like McKenna. Yes, I've always been a fan of McKenna.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm saying you find ways to get these guys in the ball games, and Richie Martin should definitely be up here right now.
Yeah, there's no excuse for Richie Martin not being here. Dude's 27. There's, our middle infield is not playing great. He should be here, and I'm curious to see, because when you promote Westberg and Henderson,
you got a crowded infield.
Shortstop. Yeah, like something's got to give here.
So do we think that means Richie's coming up tomorrow?
I think so. I do. I think so. But we'll see.
Hope so.
Yeah, me too. Speaking of that kind of rough series, just a couple notes. on
Which
it.
one?
Well, both series. Like
Rough
it's a
weekend.
reminder that
Or week.
baseball is a game of inches because we split the first two with both teams, the Mariners and the Guardians, and we
Yep.
lost the rubber match of both games in what were two very winnable games. If you remember the Mariners game, we're down 6-3, I think it was, and then we came back, had a great comeback, and we lost in extra innings. The final out was an Adley Rutschman line out, which somehow it was hit right to the guy in the shift.
Yeah,
and he
right in
caught
the
it.
shift.
And then I went online and it said it had a 96% chance of being a hit, which
Right.
I don't
But
understand. If it hit right at a guy, how does it have a 96%
how is the book
chance of
already written on Adley Rutschman that they're shifting on him?
Yeah. I don't know, but I think it has 90%, 96% chance if you're not playing the shift. And then if you're playing the shift, it's 100% chance it's an out. But yeah, ban the shift big time. It feels a little bit like you're hearing some of the Trey Mancini stuff where Adley Rutschman keeps on hitting hard, but has bad luck. But I also want to point out just one other quick note on Adley Rutschman. This past week, I think it's still continuing. Mike Trout is on like an 0 for 26 hitless streak. So even the greatest player of our generation,
send him down to the minors. He's
is
horrible.
0 for 26. Yeah. So it's just a reminder that baseball's hard, even for really good players. And so no one's freaking out about Mike Trout. But people are freaking out for Adley Rutschman because he doesn't have the track record that Mike Trout has. But I would argue college, minors, like Adley Rutschman has a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine. But the other game we lost was to the Guardians. And we had a spot there. We lost 3-2 in the rubber match. And we had a spot there, I think, in the fifth inning, where I forget who had the first hit, and then McCann. We had runners on second and third, and the top of our lineup up, our Hayes. I think Mullins pinched hit maybe at the bottom of that lineup from Mateo, maybe. And then we had Hayes up, and maybe Mountcastle came up there. So we had like all our best hitters with runners on second and third, no outs, unable to score any runs. So both those games, very winnable games.
For most of the season, it's been winnable games.
Yep.
We did have that weird stretch last weekend where it was like a 10-run loss and then a 10-run win.
Yeah, the 10. Yeah. Back to back.
And then, or what was it? A 10-run loss, a 10-run win, a 10-run loss, like back to back to back.
Right.
Kind of weird weekend. But yeah, and the Cubs come to town tonight or tomorrow night. This is Monday. Cubs come in on Tuesday, and the Cubs have like the same record as us.
Yeah. So again,
that's but that's minor league. We always say the minor league's easier, so I take that as we're better than the Cubs, and hopefully we can get 2 wins.
Yeah, the goal is to win series. And isn't it a 2-game series?
It's a 2-game series.
Oh yeah, okay. So
and the guy that pitches tomorrow has a 1.99 ERA, and he's 6-0.
Oh yeah.
Keegan Thomas.
And who do we have on the bump for the Orioles?
The Orioles, Kyle Bradish.
Okay. Two-Face. You don't know which Kyle Bradish.
Don't know what Kyle Bradish we're gonna get. Reminds me of some of our older guys.
Yeah.
When you see guys that you thought could get it back together, maybe a little Brian Mattis.
Yeah. Well, you can throw Dean Kramer into that category maybe now too. 2020 he was great. 2021 he was terrible, and now we're still trying to figure out is he good or not. Dean Kramer.
But Keegan Thomas for the start. Keegan Thomas for the Cubs, 1.99 ERA, 45 innings, 38 strikeouts. Yeah. And the Orioles like to strike out.
Yeah.
So that's a little concerning.
Yeah. But it's I like playing the Cubs. Should be fun to see some different guys. Get to watch, Sammy Sosa, Mark Grace, to see some of those Cub players. Should be fun.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear Harry Carey.
Absolutely.
On the game.
Yeah, Harry Carey and John Miller, two great guys to call in on either side.
Right, exactly. But I guess I say it's rare to see the Cubs in Camden. But next year with the balanced schedule, isn't it that we play you play every baseball team either there or home or away? So you'll play the Cubs every year.
Oh, is that how that works? I don't know.
I believe that's how it works next year.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
That's how we play the Yankees and Red Sox less. We get teams like the Cubs, the Marlins, the Braves, Nationals. Get those guys a little more.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I look forward to those days because the Yankees are still kicking butt.
Yeah.
Josh, we talked last week. I want to get into it about we hinted at the bullpen, how we need to kind of take a closer look at some of these bullpen arms.
Right, and kind of what they mean for the future.
Yeah, and kind of where did all these guys come from?
Yeah, like where did Diplin come from?
Yeah, the plan. Yeah,
Diplin.
yeah.
That's what I said.
I don't know where he came from, but
You
I
didn't,
wanted to
do
look
some
at.
research on Diplin?
No, he didn't make my list. I wanted to look at kind of the core of the bullpen, and
Okay.
the core of the bullpen, as I see it, and you disagree, but I think the core of this bullpen. I know Brian Baker struggled a little bit, but I look at it at Brian Baker, Batista, Perez, Lopez, Tate, and I would actually now even add Vespi to that list. Like to me, I mean, you can talk about the plan if you want. You can talk about um, some of these other kind of guys we bring up just for one start or one appearance and send back down.
Diplin was let go by the Brewers.
Okay. We seem to like dealing with some Brewers a good bit. So let's talk about some of these though mainstays, the back end of our rotation. Let's start with the veterans. Speaking of Brewers, Jorge Lopez, our closer, who's been dominant this year.
Yeah.
He was drafted by the Brewers in 2011 in the second round. First made his major league debut in 2015. Top 100 prospect. Was traded to Kansas City in the Mike Moustakas trade. And then the Orioles in 2020 DFA'd Jorge Lopez. And that's when he's picked up by the Orioles in 2020. You'll notice a theme, Josh, of players getting DFA'd and then picked up by the Orioles.
Yeah, that's our bullpen. And what does that? But does that mean? That means short leashes for all these guys, though, right?
Well, I don't know. Like Jorge Lopez now, I think is a little bit more established. He showed glimpses last year of kind of pretty good in the bullpen role. So I don't know, but it does. I mean, Jorge Lopez is 29. He's been around the block a little bit. The other guy, the back in the bullpen, who's I think the veteran of the group, been in the majors for a while, is Dylan Tate, another drafted 4th overall. He was a first-round pick, 4th overall by the Rangers 2015, was traded to the Yankees for Beltran. And then, of course, kind of infamously, he's part of that Zach Britton deal that brought Cody Carroll, Dylan Tate, Josh Rogers, and, of course, he's the last man standing with the Orioles.
And that's
Dylan
good.
Tate.
It's when you trade someone like Zach Britton, you want to have someone on your team that's holding over, that you got something for it.
Yep. And so right now, Dylan Tate is that guy. The other guys that are kind of newer to the majors, Senel Perez.
Yep.
Senel Perez is an interesting guy. He's, of course, our lefty specialist who's been really good. He is 26 years old. He actually worked with pitching coach Chris Holt in the minors with the Astros. He was signed by the Astros out of Cuba, for $3.15 million. He was traded to Cincinnati. And then Cincinnati DFA'd him a year later. So in this offseason, we got Senel Perez, who was DFA'd by the Reds, which is crazy because the Reds have the worst team in baseball. It seems like they could use a Senel Perez.
Right. I don't think they planned on being the worst team in baseball this year. Well, they did cut a lot of bait.
Kind of, yeah, they did. But I mean, it's crazy, right? They're the worst team in baseball. DFA is a bullpen arm. The Orioles pick him up, and now he's one of your best bullpen arms, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Josh, the other guy, before we get to your favorite pitcher, Brian Baker, 27 years old. This is still considered kind of his rookie year. Drafted in 2016 by the Rockies. He was recently, again, this offseason, right around the time that we picked up Senel Perez, we picked up Brian Baker off waivers from Toronto. He had I don't know why Toronto DFA'd him. I don't know their whole pitching crunch thing. But last year, 2021, he was named the Warren Span Most Valuable Pitcher Award for the AAA team there. He was 6-1 last year with an ERA of 1.31. Opponents batted 125 off him last year at AAA. So Brian Baker's coming off kind of a great AAA year. I guess it was just a roster crunch for the Blue Jays. But I always like it when you can pick up a division rival guy, like a guy from the Yankees or Blue Jays, and have him pitch really well. So good track record in the minors for Brian Baker. And then your favorite guy, Felix Bautista.
I do love Felix Bautista.
Yeah, he's kind of crazy. He's 26, right? This is his first year. He was signed by the Marlins in 2012 out of the Dominican Republic. He was released by the Marlins in 2015, and the Orioles signed him in 2016. That's under the Dan Duquette regime. So thank you, Dan Duquette, for signing Felix Bautista. And his I was looking at his baseball reference page. It's kind of wild. He's one of those guys who seemed to work really hard during the 2020 COVID year, because he came back in 2021 just kind of balling. In 2021, talk about, Elias promoting. He started off in single A, pitched there for a while, then went to double A, pitched there for a while, then ended the season in triple A. So he advanced last year 3 levels, right? In May he was in single A. By the end of June he was double A, and by August he was triple A. So went up 3 levels, and then of course this year he's been with the Orioles pretty much the entire year. And so yeah, props to Felix Bautista for being a fast mover, and his stats in the minors. Like Felix Bautista, you may have not heard of him before this year, but his stats in the minors are kind of silly. Last year, pitching between all those different levels, he threw 46 innings and had 77 strikeouts. 46 innings, 77 strikeouts. That's averaging about 15 strikeouts per 9 innings last year. So I don't think this Felix Bautista thing is a fluke, and I think that's what you're seeing with a lot of these guys like Baker and Bautista, and our newest guy to the back end of our bullpen, Nick Vespi.
Right.
Strong track records with the Orioles, and Nick Vespi is unique because he's the only guy drafted by Dan Duquette. He's the only kind of Oriole drafted guy. He was drafted in 2015. And if you look at Nick Vespi, I mean, he's been in the minors since 2015, but he's pitched 153 innings, has an ERA of 2.87 in the minors, has a batting average against at 0.213. So just his whole entire minor league career, Nick Vespi's been getting guys out. So even though kind of it's surprising that our bullpen's pitching so well with kind of these guys you never heard of, all of them come from, in the case of Vespi and Bautista and Baker, really good track records in the minors. And in the case of Lopez and Tate, like former top picks, starters who went and then converted to relievers who have really good stuff. So I think it's combination of that that's turned this kind of group of no-name guys into a good bullpen.
And you left out another no-name guy. He's not as up there as much, but he's got good numbers. Logan Gillespie.
Yeah.
And I like Logan because it's his history. He didn't get drafted. He played rookie ball. The Brewers ended up signing him to a minor league contract, and then they cut him at the end of the season. He took in 2019. They cut him. Then he didn't play in 2020, and then the Orioles signed him in 2021. He goes Ironbirds, Bowie in 2021. This year he started in Bowie, went to Norfolk, and he's in the majors.
Yeah.
Real fast track for a guy who, again, is young. Was he 97? So what's that make him? 25? If I'm doing my math right, 24, 25?
97.
Yeah, April 17th, 1997, 25 years old.
Yeah, he's 25.
So he's still a young guy who the Orioles brought up fast. And he's been pitching really well. He pitched great this weekend against Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I was doing kind of back in the rotation guys, and he's kind of that middle innings guy.
This is a middle inning guy, but he's still he's not a long relief guy. He's going in there for one inning. He's going in there in key moments, and he's getting guys out.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. So, yeah.
But again,
good on him.
No track record. Not real proven. Worked his way up here.
Yeah, and that's true with, I mean, just listen to guys that we talked about that have no track record really in the majors. Brian Baker, this is rookie year. Bautista, it's rookie year. Perez, same deal. Vespi, obviously. So, yeah, it's a whole bunch of guys who are unproven at the major level. But, a lot of them have, like Bautista, have nasty stuff and pretty good track records in the minors. So,
yeah,
I think they're the real deal. No, not every, pitcher will work out, but it seems like when you don't have to spend money in your bullpen because you can kind of grow your own arms or develop your own arms, there seems to be a lot of development here. Yeah. And find guys on the waiver wire. And these aren't guys you found the waiver wire just this past offseason, and now they're contributing to our team, which is pretty cool.
Do you think it's easier to develop I guess it's got to be easier to develop bullpen arms because they don't need as many pitches because you're not asking them to go through the lineup a couple times. You're asking them to face half a lineup.
Oh yeah, I mean, just
That's
look at
the
Jorge
worst
Lopez.
case. You face the whole lineup. You go 3 innings. The goal is come in, throw your 2 pitches, and confuse the guys.
Yeah, and throw as hard as you possibly can.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we've seen a bunch of guys. Like Jorge Lopez is a great example. I remember when Tommy Hunter did this too. Like when he moved to the bullpen, their stuff just got a lot better. And I think if you're a pitcher, you're told just go out there and throw as hard as you can to 3 batters. It's a lot easier to have good stuff and be successful than being asked to throw 6 innings, right? Obviously.
Totally.
And so I think the challenges for this team going forward, and this is why DL Hall, I think, is the most important player in the organization. We got to find 5 starters. And right now, I mean, I thought Grayson Rodriguez was the answer. And that's another thing, Josh, too. We talked about this when we got swept by Detroit.
Yeah.
What this team does not have is depth. We have no depth right now, especially at the pitching and infield spots. Starting
no
pitching,
depth
we have
that
no
we
depth.
want to use. Yes.
Right. I mean,
Infield
Spencer
spots,
Watkins.
we got lots of stuff we don't want to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, Spencer Watkins got hurt, and all of a sudden, Brian Baker is starting a game, and who knows? I mean, we had to bring Dean Kramer. I don't think we wanted to bring Dean Kramer back yet. I think we wanted him to give a couple more rehab starts, but
but
we had no option.
It's
We have
difficult
no
to
depth
say
in starting pitching.
you have no depth when you've got guys like DL Hall, when you had Grayson Rodriguez there, when you've got Richie Martin and Westbrook and Connor all there.
Yeah, Stowers, and it's true.
You got these guys. You got depth, but you're almost like they're in the minors, but they're untouchable. We're not bringing them up. So it's kind of not fair when, like in the past, your depth was your depth. For the Orioles, there's about half the minor leagues that are not touchable, where it's purely development, and there's no chance you're ever pulling those guys up, injury or whatever.
Right, because when Watkins got hurt, your best option was Grayson Rodriguez was your first best option.
Yeah, and then DL Hall your second.
Second best option was DL Hall, but you didn't want to touch either of those guys. And then your other options are Zach Lothar, Cody Sedlock, guys who just can't get anyone out in the AAA level, let alone the major level. So now you're kind of stuck where you have no one you want to bring up. So then Brian Baker starts a game with Zach Lothar backing him up. Yeah,
right.
Which is not
which
ideal.
Comes back to this year doesn't matter. Michael Elias doesn't care. This year does not matter.
Right. But it could have mattered. I would argue it could have mattered maybe a little bit. But now with Grayson Rodriguez being out, it doesn't look like it's going to matter. But I thought maybe it had the potential of mattering. I thought this was a maybe mattering season. And it just feels like with Grayson Rodriguez going out, that's a big blow to this maybe thing happening because we're already, like our starting pitching's already wearing thin.
Does any of this take away your confidence for next year?
Again, it does in the sense that does Mike Elias not care about winning next year too now? If Mike Elias cares about winning, because what we need to do is clear. We need to sign another starting pitcher, at least one, and not Jordan Lyles. We need to sign one good starting pitcher, and we need to sign a really good batting, defensively, just
Carlos
all around.
Correa, you mean?
I mean Carlos Correa. We need to sign Carlos Correa, and we need to sign a middle of the rotation arm. And if we do those two things, I feel good about next year. If we don't do those things, if we try to Jordan Lyles our way, and Miguel Franco our way there, it's going to be another lose season next year because we're not going to win, Josh. We're not going to make the playoffs with Henderson here and Rodriguez here and Hall here. Just that. That's not going to be enough. I don't think it's going to be enough. We also need to bring outside pieces in.
Even with expanded playoffs.
I don't see it happening. I think we need more than that.
So how does now without Grayson Rodriguez coming up, do the Orioles pull back on everything, or how do we still make New Guy Friday happen? How do we still get some excitement in Birdland through the summer?
Yeah. So who's the next guy up?
I mean, it's DL Hall.
Yes, who had a good start his last start.
Right. So do they push DL Hall? They're not going to change. Like Michael Elias isn't going to change his strategy based on Grayson Rodriguez having a fluke injury, is he?
No, but I wonder how close is DL Hall? And I think he's not the guy that we could. But again, he's a little bit up and down the minors. But if he starts getting on a streak, because that would happen with Grayson. Like Grayson went on a streak right before the injury, where for like 5 starts, he was freaking dominant. And if DL Hall gets on a streak, he had one start last time where he struck out, I think, 9 guys. If he gets on a streak of like 3 or 4 hot games where he pitches really well, it's going to be, I think it's going to be similar to the Grayson Rodriguez stuff with DL Hall and kind of adding some excitement maybe by the end of June, early July, assuming he, like, his deal is just, here's what you need to do with DL Hall. Go to the MILB app and watch the box score with DL Hall. Look at pitches thrown and strikes thrown. If it's sometimes you have games where it's literally 50-50. It's I threw 60 pitches, 30 strikes, 30 balls. Like, that's DL Hall. But if he's throwing a lot more strikes than balls, because his stuff, if he throws strikes, he's going to get everybody out because his stuff is that good. But sometimes his stuff is too good to locate. And so, but I think that's, for me, the next guy. I mean, you can talk about Stowers. Stowers doesn't do anything for me. But, you can get excited about Stowers if you want.
All right.
DL Hall is the guy that's going to get me excited.
Yesterday, DL Hall got 8 strikeouts in 4 innings.
Yes.
Is that enough to bring him up?
Yeah, like if he has 3 starts like that in a row, if he has 2 more like that in a row.
So you're saying they don't bring him up this week, but you're saying keep an eye.
Yes, I'm saying keep an eye out. He needs to put, because his problem is he's been a little inconsistent.
If
put 3 of those starts together, I'll start to beat the DL.
If he gets hurt 2 starts from now, are you going to be coming on here saying, hey, the Orioles should have put him on the roster?
I might not come on this podcast at all if he gets hurt too. Like, forget about it. But Josh, we've seen this happen. I mean, we've seen Hunter Harvey. All the time. We've seen Hunter Harvey be great. We've seen Dylan Bundy make his major league debut at 19 and then not see him again for like four years or something crazy.
Just look at Manny Machado, who's playing the best baseball of his career now. How many knee surgeries in are we?
Yeah.
So
I wish he was on our team.
Yeah.
Our rebuild would would be in a lot better place if we had Manny.
It would. I don't know. I don't know if the rebuild would be better, but it would still be fun to watch Manny.
Yeah. Hey, a couple other notes I want to get to.
Yeah.
I went to the game on Thursday.
Okay.
Because I was debating, do I change my tickets for Friday and get the Adley t-shirt? I didn't really like the Adley t-shirt all that much anyway.
No, I didn't either, but I was glad to see the Orioles. You always want my
Celebrate
opinion on
Adley.
Promotions.
Yeah.
I was glad to see the Orioles do something for Adley. I think it would have been way cooler if they had that t-shirt night those t-shirts ready for Adley's game.
Yeah.
Like, had it just sitting in the warehouse, because we all knew Adley was coming. So they could have had those welcome to the show shirts in the warehouse, and just when they announced Adley's coming, they'd come get your shirt too. But I'm glad it's much better than the.
What would you rather have, an Adley t-shirt
or a
and
Chick-fil-A
t-shirt?
Yeah, exactly. That, but yeah, glad to see that. Very low attendance though on TV for that Adley t-shirt night for a Friday night t-shirt giveaway.
Yeah,
it looked small.
Yeah, on Thursday it was insane, and that was also the day that there was a bunch of bad storms.
Right.
And so I think people stayed away from the stadium. Also, school night in the city and all that stuff. But we went on Thursday night and it was like empty. But we got the chance to, like, I wanted to catch a foul ball, and so we moved down to that side section to like the third base side.
Okay.
And Silas sat there and he just immediately started complaining because you have to, like, I forgot about, it's been forever since I've sat anywhere else, but sitting there, you got to turn your head to watch the game. Josh, it was like hurting my neck.
Yeah.
As you had to, the seats are facing the left fielder.
Mm-hmm.
You have to turn your entire head the whole time just to see the pitcher and the batter.
Right. They should get rid of about 3 seats per row and just tilt the chairs a little bit.
Yeah, it was weird. I never really sat there for a whole game, but it made me appreciate 336. And we did, like, as a fun, we had a chance to sit in like 4 different spots in the stadium just so Silas could see it from kind of different angles, like the bleachers and stuff. So it was pretty fun. But also made me appreciate why we call the podcast 336.
What's the best seats in the stadium?
Best seats in the house.
No, hands down.
Yeah, agreed. Other thing I want to get to, I purchased MLB The Show. I was bored on a Saturday night or whatever.
I've got the show. I've been playing. I haven't played in a couple of weeks. I've been busy, but I've really been enjoying the show this year.
Why are all the bullpen? We talked about the bullpen. Josh, why are they all rated so badly in the show?
I don't
all
know.
terrible. They're all like D's
Yeah.
and F's.
Because like we were saying about the bullpen, none of these guys have ever proven themselves.
I
So
know.
we know nothing.
Haven't they done updates though? Like, shouldn't Batista be a B at this point?
I
Haven't they
don't.
done updates?
Yeah, there have been updates. I don't
Is
know.
Buster Olney in charge of these ratings?
Probably, but I don't know. Did you start a franchise? Because
You know it.
I immediately started a franchise. I brought Adley up for opening day, and right now I have Grayson and DL Hall on my team as well.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
I brought my guys up early because I don't follow the Mike Elias plan. I follow the Buster Olney plan.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I saw that there was an update for the show this week, and I haven't played, but I saw there was an update this week that fixed the left field wall in Camden Yards.
Oh yeah, the left field wall was fine when I played. It was the normal.
Oh, it's the new way.
It's the new left field wall.
Okay,
was it not originally?
Last time I played, it was still the old wall.
Oh no!
And I saw one guy complaining on Twitter that they fixed Camden Yards, and now I keep losing my games.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see Trey Mancini that one game this past week hit the ball on the top of the wall.
Yeah.
And next at bat hit a home run to make up for it.
Right. And also to see two guys clear the wall between there, so Trey had to calm down a little bit because it is possible.
Yeah. I'm also excited for the show when the Orioles add Andrew Jones to their roster. So wake me up when Orioles get the number 1 overall pick, draft Andrew Jones, and he becomes
and the show they add him immediately.
And they add him. So that'd be fun too. And that's also the only time I've ever seen Heston Kjerstad play baseball is on the show. So that's another reason I like to play the show, promote Heston Kjerstad, so I can pretend like he's a real person.
He didn't get hurt as soon as you promoted him?
No, and rumor is this week, Josh, he's gonna start playing at Delmarva. So we'll see if that happens.
I'd love to see that happen. The draft, you mentioned the draft and Andrew Jones. The draft is All-Star weekend this year, right?
Right, that's true. Yes.
They moved it all to whatever that weekend, mid-July. We got it all then, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and if you look at, and I've been starting to get into it, looking at some of the projections, and depending on where you read, you'll have the Orioles linked to someone else every single draft. So it's not, like, I think Adley Rutschman, it was pretty clear. It started off as about Bobby Witt Jr., then it clearly went to Adley Rutschman. So there was no surprise when we took Adley Rutschman. I think given the Orioles' history to go underslot with the top picks, plus the fact that almost all the top picks, the top 3 that most people think are the top 3, maybe top 4, are all high school guys. It's going to kind of be, and Michael Elias has gone mostly college with the first pick. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we do know it's not going to be a pitcher; it's going to be a hitter, but it's going to be one of 5 guys. I mean, personally, I have no idea because I've seen none of these guys play, but it seems like, Drew Jones has the most. Most people agree that Drew Jones is the best player available. So I hope they go with Drew Jones, but I don't know anything about these guys.
Well, let's do a little live coverage that night.
All
right. I believe we'll be together. It's the same week as our vacation time.
All right.
I think we'll all be together and we can do a little live coverage. Maybe the Zany one will even be with us.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Josh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about Bruce Zimmerman's struggles? He's looked like a different pitcher, kind of the second half of starts compared to his first half of starts. Giving up a lot of home runs. Seems like a lot of home runs.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really believed in Bruce Zimmerman. I always felt like he was a 5th starter. And so I'm not too concerned, but only because I never expected anything out of him. I mean, it sucks because we need him this year, but I'm not concerned. That'd be like, are you concerned that, I don't know, who's one of our guys that's not supposed to perform well, who's not performing well? It's like.
Yeah, Chris Owens is struggling.
Right. Am I concerned that Chris Owens isn't putting up big numbers? No, I don't care. It's what's to be expected. Are you concerned about Zimmerman? You're a Zimmerman boy.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at
Zimmerman man.
Yeah, I mean, he has an interest. I mean, if you look at the beginning of the season, he started up his first 2 starts, gave up no runs, then gave up 2 runs and 3 runs. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4 starts in April, gave up 5 earned runs in 4 starts, which is pretty incredible.
At the same time that baseball was taught home runs were down across the league, and all pitching definitely came out of spring training ahead of offense.
Yeah. And then in May, his first 3 starts in May, gave up 2 runs in each of those starts, went 5 innings, 6 innings, 6 innings. So pretty consistently giving up 2 runs in each start. And you take 6 innings, 2 runs, you take that all day, every day.
Sure.
And then the past 3 starts, the Yankees gave up 5 runs. The Yankees again gave up 4 runs. The Red Sox gave up 6 runs. And then recently the Guardians gave up 5 runs. And so, you gave up 5 runs in all of April. And since May 19th, you've given up 5 runs every game except for one where he gave up 4 runs. The thing I would say in his defense, Yankees, Boston. I mean, we're talking about some of the best offenses in all of baseball when you're talking about the Yankees and Boston.
Right.
And I mean, that Boston game is the one he gave up 5 home runs. So you gave up 6 runs, but you gave up 5 home runs in 4 innings. And the start before that against the Yankees, you gave up 4 home runs. So in a back-to-back starts there, you gave up 9 home runs in 2 games. That's the thing to me where you can't do that. You can't give up home runs like that. So Bruce Zimmerman, I think he's the guy that's still kind of to be determined, right? If you're talking about a rotation of Rodriguez and Hall and Means and Bradish, like, is Zimmerman part of that rotation? I think he's kind of playing for his spot next year, right? And to some extent. So I'm curious to see, is Bruce Zimmerman the one we saw in the first half or the one we saw in the second half? Maybe you're right. Like, maybe this is who he is. Maybe he's a 5 ERA kind of guy. I don't know yet. I think the jury's still out with Bruce Zimmerman for me. But yeah, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I thought for a second he could be good, and now he doesn't look good. And now I'm wondering, like you, maybe he was never that good to begin with. Local kid, great story. And so I hope, like, I hope he can be even a 3 or 4. I mean, I would take even a 4 or 5 start at this point. I hope he can be that guy, a 4 or 5 starter on a really good team. And right now he's not that.
I like this game that you're playing, though. I like how you're pinning it as, is this guy for real? Or did we just get excited for a small sample size? Because I want to ask you the same thing about Jorge Mateo.
Yeah.
Because I really like Mateo when he's doing good things. But he's been struggling. I know he's got a positive WAR still. But he's great at double plays. So his defensive numbers are there.
Yeah, not just double plays, Josh. You watch him. I mean, he had, over this past week, some amazing defensive plays. I've never seen, in all my years, I've never seen someone with such range. He gets the balls no one else gets to. Like, and sometimes he'll miss an easy one, but he'll get to balls no one else gets to. And I love exciting shortstops who gets the balls that no one else can get to.
Are you forgetting about a guy named Manny Machado that used to play in Baltimore? He had some pretty good range too.
Yeah, but Manny Machado is much better defensively than Jorge Mateo. But the range thing, the ability to get the balls that are like 3 feet up like past the second base and going up the middle, somehow he gets there.
How much can you allow that? How much freedom does that buy you to then be able to bat 200?
He also has incredible speed when he gets them on the bases, right? The fast.
Yeah, but you don't get on base. If you're batting 200, you're not getting on base.
Right.
And there's no way, like, I like you as a pinch runner, but I can't use you as a pinch runner and as a defense guy. I don't want an infield defensive late inning defensive replacement. I don't need Andy Chavez at this moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the question, right? Like the whole Billy Hamilton thing where the guy could steal a bunch of bases, but can he get on base enough? And that's the question. Like, what is Mateo's OBP and what does kind of it need to be? Because the other stuff is so good that maybe you can put up with the other. But if your OBP is under 300, like that's, I don't know if your defense and speed is making up for it, because who cares how fast you are, you can never get on base. And so he seems to be also a guy who's streaky, right? Like, I know he's been in a rough patch now, but he's also I feel like the kind of guy that can have a week where, he bats 380 and boost that
his
average
OBP is 239.
Yeah, you can't win with that. You can't win with 239.
Right. There's no point. Don't tell me you're good at stealing if you're home base 239.
Yeah. Now, I like the idea of keeping a Jorge Mateo on my team for extra innings, the whole base runner thing, and what he can add defensively, and
Right.
but you can't be an everyday infielder with with an OBP under 300. You can't
No.
do it.
No, last year he had a 293 OBP.
Yeah, which is still not great, but better than it is now.
But that one you can at least accept for the defense outweighs it.
Right. Yeah. So fun player to watch. Glad he's on this team. Exciting to watch. Rather watch him, than a lot of other guys.
But there's a few guys in the minors I'd like to see even more than Mateo.
Yeah. Though I would argue, listen, if we want to talk playoffs, I don't think we're talking about Richie Martin.
I don't have my buttons up. What are you doing playoffs?
I don't think we're talking about Mateo. I don't think we're talking about Richie Martin.
No.
If we're talking playoffs, we're talking about Correa. Maybe we're talking about Gunnar, maybe Jordan Westbrook. But that's the position. Infield in general, specifically shortstop, is a position I feel like we need to upgrade.
I like that infield that you're recommending, though. That infield of Carlos Correa, Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westbrook, and Mountcastle.
Yeah,
I like that. And Adley behind the plate.
That's my infield. The only person I'm a little bit suspect is Westbrook. But that's a pretty good infield.
And a little Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, Stowers in the outfield.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not sold on Stowers.
You're not sold on Stowers. I know.
Yeah.
I know. But I do like that infield. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's fun how they've kept Westbrook and Henderson together. It seems like in single A, they've I think they were maybe promoted together to double A, but kind of around the same time, and now to triple A. I like how they're keeping that kind of crew together.
But that's what we wanted to see with Adley. We wanted to see Adley come up with Grayson or with Dale Hall. Yeah. We wanted to see that combo unit.
Yeah, and we talked about before how kind of those minor leaguers are so supportive of one another.
Yeah,
and clearly they have great relationships. Like Adley doesn't have a great relationship with anyone on the Orioles, when the major team, because he hasn't played with most of them, right? But he has a great relationship with those guys like Grayson and DL Hall, who have been. I mean, DL Hall and Grayson have been together for a long time too, as well. And we saw that a little bit with kind of the recovery, where when Grayson was going through his rehab, DL Hall was going through the rehab at the same time. So, I watched DL Hall pitch to Grayson at Aberdeen this year as they went through their kind of rehab together,
right?
Which is pretty cool to see. So, yeah, but I don't know, Josh. All in all, I'm just kind of down. I'm still down about the Grayson Rodriguez news. I was just so excited to watch him pitch, and I'm glad it's not Tommy John or anything, so serious with the shoulder arm. But it still sucks. It still sucks. I'm out of patience with this stuff. What's that?
That June stock went down.
Yeah. My bold prediction about June the best record, all of that was assuming we'd have Grayson and Adley here, and we have Adley, which I'm grateful for. And Adley's going to start hitting soon. I'm excited about that. But yeah, it's disappointing that Grayson's not here.
June. What was last week? A June optimism,
confidence. June
confidence. And what's this? June implodement.
Yeah, June pessimism. June depression, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. We're gonna go with the June. I don't know. June blues.
June sadness. June blue. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. But and then we'll see. We're still got a kind of a soft part of our schedule. Like June's just beginning, and so things could.
Right. There's plenty of times for it to go up.
Yeah.
But this week was rough.
Yeah, this week was rough, and it's not just the on-field stuff. If the on-field stuff happened and Grayson was starting tomorrow, I would probably still be pretty optimistic about June. We got the Cubs, then we got the Orioles. These are 2 winnable series. You hope you can, get greedy and take 2 from the Cubs, and then get greedy. If we sweep the Cubs, take 3 out of 4 from the Orioles, like we're sitting pretty again. And next Monday we're talking about a really good June month. But I don't know. I don't know if we have the starting pitching for it, and we'll see.
Okay. Well, plenty of time. Still time. 2023 is still on schedule. 2022 just got a little less fun.
Yeah. But it could get fun again. Just,
sure.
Keep on watching DL Hall. See what happens with Stowers and Westberg and these guys. Yeah. Henderson, Josh, your boy Henderson, one step closer. He's
I
now
know,
just a
I
phone
know.
call away.
I can't wait. Maybe that's the one I fly home for.
Yeah.
So.
All right, you ready to get out of here?
Yeah, no PlayStation still, guys.
Not
The guy's
no
now
wedding gift PlayStation.
no. He's now angry at me that I'm asking for where the PlayStation is.
Ah, he's flipped the script.
He's now mad at me that I expect a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think his wife found out or something. He got in a fight with his wife on Sunday about it. So I don't know. He texted me Saturday saying that he'd get me a wedding present, and then I asked him on Sunday, and he got mad that I asked. So,
all right, a little trouble in PlayStation Paradise there.
Yeah. So if anyone knows how to get me a PlayStation, let me know.
Can you still not get a PlayStation at a store?
You can't. Nope.
That blows my mind. Why can't they just make more PlayStations?
I don't know.
Make more PlayStations. That blows
no
my
idea.
mind.
I don't know if it's the same chip shortage that like the car industry is complaining about and stuff.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
There's one factory that makes all the chips in there.
But I'd like a PlayStation. Yeah. I do have the show on PS4. I don't know if we can cross play to play each other.
We can try it.
But we can try.
Silas just still wants to play Rocket League, so we can do that one too.
Oh, I do owe Silas some Rocket League time. Yeah. Let's make that happen this weekend.
All right. Sounds good. All right, guys. Make sure you register, review on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Go to section336.com. Click Patreon at the top to support the show. $336 a month to support the show.
Make it a wedding gift for me. Support us.
There you go. Yeah, you can follow us on all your social media sites. You can follow me on Twitter at section336. You can follow Josh on Twitter
at Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's.